You're listening to a CNA podcast.
右の結果、高市早苗君を衆議院規則第18条
As a result, the House has elected Sanae Takaichi as the Prime Minister.
決まりました。
Japan has made history. Sanae Takaichi, a long-time insider from the ruling Liberal Democratic Party and staunch conservative, has been confirmed in a parliamentary vote and elected as the country's first female prime minister. Ms. Takaichi inherits a fragile economy, persistent inflation, high prices and stagnant wages. On foreign policy, a volatile environment with China, North Korea and the U.S. alliance all in sharp focus. So, what kind of leader will she be? Let's break down Ms. Takaichi's next moves, her domestic battles, foreign policy priorities, the political compromises she'll have to make, and the limited time she has before voters judge whether she has delivered. I'm Genevieve Woo. In this special episode of the CNA Correspondent Podcast, I'm joined by CNA Senior Correspondent Michiyo Ishida, who has been following Ms. Takaichi's rise to Japan's top office. Michiyo, a historic milestone for Takaichi, Japan's first female prime minister. Congratulations, by the way. You have a new prime minister.
Thank you very much, although it's not me.
She's been in the ruling party since 1996, and she's actually held various cabinet positions. Of course, now that she's PM, the scrutiny is different. It's a lot more intense. So, who is Sanae Takaichi? What do we know about her?
Ms. Takaichi is known as an Iron Lady. The reason is she looks up to former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Mrs. Thatcher is seen as her role model, and she's mentioned that in her past interviews. That's Mrs. Thatcher's commitment towards reforms, and so she's aiming to become an Iron Lady. Now, let me give you a little bit more background of her history and politics. She won a seat in the lower house for the first time in 1993, and at that time she was running as an independent. It's only 3 years later she joined the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. And she actually did lose a seat in 2003. And during that period, she was not a lawmaker. She taught at a university, then was back in politics in 2005. Now, she was appointed to a special cabinet post in charge of Okinawa, Northern Ireland, science and technology, gender equality, food safety, and innovation. A lot of jobs for her.
Wow, that's an impressive portfolio.
Under the Shinzo Abe administration, she served 5 years as Internal Affairs Minister. And that's the longest ever term for a parliamentarian to serve in one Internal Affairs Minister cabinet post. She was Economic Security Minister in the Fumio Kishida cabinet. And she ran in the LDP presidential race in 2021, 2024, and this time was her third. Now, if I can give you some other facts about her, she served as a U.S. Congressional Fellow in the office of Pat Schroeder, who was a Democrat from Colorado. She was a TV newscaster. Her personal life, she married, divorced, and she remarried the same person, Taku Yamamoto, a former parliamentarian. She is known to love heavy metal.
Heavy metal?
She loves heavy metal, and she plays the drum herself.
I heard that she loves like Iron Maiden. She likes Deep Purple.
Right.
Oh, okay, when we talk about Deep Purple, it's dun 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 dun. Who can miss that?
Something like that.
She's one of the boys, isn't she? I heard that she loves cars too.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there's a girly part of her. When she had a meeting, when she had a debate or not a positive talk with a parliamentarian, she visited that person's office. She came out to tell reporters she wasn't even served strawberry shortcake. And she loves strawberry shortcake.
So she's one of the boys, but she also has a rather girly side to her. Okay, let's not get into stereotypes, but okay, it sounds like she's quite a colorful character.
She is.
Let's start now with some of her priorities, right? She's got her work cut out for her. High cost of living has been a huge source of unhappiness in Japan. So bread and butter issues. What are Ms. Takaichi's immediate plans?
She has already ordered her cabinet, which was just formed, to work on economic measures. The top concern among the Japanese public is rising cost of living. Consumer price has been rising since the end of 2021. One of the reasons due to COVID-19 pandemic. Everything went to a stop during that time. And the Ukraine war, Japan imports much of its food and fuel from overseas. So when there's a disruption to the supply chain, it's a big issue in Japan, although it has a stockpile in case of contingencies. Now, just this month, 1,000 retail items hiked, and wages are not catching up. And during the upper house election in July, the Liberal Democratic Party campaigned by promising cash handouts of 20,000 yen to each household and 40,000 yen to low-income families. But the LDP lost its majority in the upper house, and this was actually the policy of Komeito, LDP's coalition partner since 1999. But since they split recently and formed a coalition with Japan Innovation Party, or Ishin, this policy was scrapped. And this is what she said in her first news conference as Prime Minister.
一度ならずも二度敗れても
Not just once, but twice, I lost the Liberal Democratic Party's presidential election, but I did not give up. I had a clear vision to build a strong economy and to protect Japan's national interest with foreign and security policy.
Ms. Takaichi formed new cabinet portfolios reflecting what she wanted to do. And for the first time, the Growth Strategy Minister post was made, and she's appointed Minoru Kiuchi, who was Economic Security Minister under the Ishida administration. To Finance Minister, she appointed Ms. Satsuki Katayama. And to her, she added the role of tax and subsidy reform. As Economic Security Minister is Kimi Onoda. She will be in charge of foreigners, in particular immigration policy. Ms. Takaichi is known for her policy of not condoning illegal immigrants. And those living in Japan must follow rules in Japan. That's her position.
She's also known to favor an expansionist fiscal policy, like a continuation of Abenomics, like a cheap borrowing but high public expenditure. Is that on the cards for her? And if so, Japan already has record high public debt. How much room does she have for spending?
As you say, Japan's national debt is really high, about 250% of its GDP. But during the past years, if you look at Japan's national budget, that it's had strong tax income the past years. But the issue is Japan has a fast aging population, so its social welfare spending has been expanding, and that has been reflected in Japan's huge expenditure and also weighing on more public debt. We have to wait and see how her newly appointed finance minister, Ms. Satsuki Katayama, will deal with the situation.
It's interesting, too, because her vision of expansionary fiscal policy does not quite square with her new coalition partner, Ishin, who is more conservative. What compromises do you think she'll have to make?
Actually, the number one request that Ishin, or Japan Innovation Party, has made to Ms. Takaichi is reducing the number of parliamentarians. And Ishin wants 10% reduction. Now, local media say that this policy is not well accepted within the LDP because that means LDP will lose a number of seats in both houses of parliament when they already do not have a majority in both houses. And if seats are reduced, many LDP are likely to lose seats.
So it's a very delicate balancing act for her, isn't it? She needs Ishin as a coalition partner, but she again cannot get on the wrong side of the LDP, which is her party.
And if I may add, it was because of Ishin that she was able to be elected prime minister. And Ishin replaced Komeito, and they have already played a major part for her to become prime minister.
Exactly. So we'll have to wait and see how she's going to balance this tricky act. Now, in terms of investment, she's talked about areas like AI and semiconductors. These are key areas that she wants to expand the budget on. So why these sectors, and how will they change Japan's growth prospects?
Okay, she wants Japan to be powerful, strong again. She was actually referring to high tech because in the past, Japanese manufacturers have basically dominated high tech around the world. I'm sure you've heard Hitachi, Toshiba, Panasonic, Mitsubishi. They were world famous and they were like so powerful with their manufacturing capability around the world. Ms. Takaichi wants Japan to return to that golden period. For instance, in semiconductors, Japan does not lead in the production of the final product anymore, but is still a big contributor to the part. So this is an area she sees potential and wants Japan to be back on world stage.
Now, talking about being back on world stage, let's talk about foreign policy. What is her position on Japan-China relations?
Well, Ms. Takaichi is known for being pro-Taiwan. And actually in April, she visited Taiwan and met with President Lai. One thing is, she is a regular visitor to the Yasukuni Shrine. I'm sure you've heard of the shrine, but
Yes.
it's a shrine that honors war dead. Plus, it honors classy war criminals. And this has been always an issue with Beijing. Beijing and also South Korea has been against prime ministers, foreign visitors visiting the shrine. But when she was cabinet minister, she continued visiting the shrine. It's not only for the day Japan surrendered in World War II, but during the Spring Festival and Autumn Festival. But this time, she did not visit the shrine. So it seems like she's holding back from her practice and she's trying to improve ties with Beijing, China.
Mm-hmm. What about defense? Is one area that she talked also about an expansionary budget. How does that link to her China strategy?
China's growing assertiveness and its military buildup has always been a concern for her predecessors. So it's not only Ms. Takaichi's concerns. And on defense, from December 2022, Japan raised its spending cap from 1% of its GDP to 2%. This was announced by then Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Ms. Takaichi, however, thinks that more spending is needed, not only 2% going beyond. Japan is surrounded by nations with nuclear capabilities. Remember in Beijing during the 80th year anniversary since World War II, 3 neighbors were there walking side by side, talking like they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Putin of Russia, Mr. Kim of North Korea, and Mr. Xi Jinping.
Right. All 3
And-
nuclear
yes,
states.
all 3. And they're all Japan's neighbors.
Yes.
So Tokyo has been saying for a while, East Asia could be the next Ukraine. Ms. Takaichi, she wants longer range missile capabilities to be built, for instance. But in reality, Japan is ruled under a pacifist constitution. And under the constitution, Japan promises never to go to war. So expanding its defense capabilities is also controversial in this country, Japan.
Sure, it's controversial, but it will put her on the right side of the U.S. President, Donald Trump, and he is going to visit Japan in late October. So what are some of the key issues that Takaichi needs to address with Trump?
First of all, the most important is to build trust with Mr. Trump. Normally, a first meeting with Japan's most important ally and only ally is needed weeks or maybe a few months of preparations. Meeting with foreign ministry officials who are experienced or former ambassadors or incumbent ambassadors. But since she was elected prime minister only on the 21st of October, she has only about a week to prepare for her meeting with Mr. Trump. There is something she can actually make use of. And it is to announce to Mr. Trump that she is Shinzo Abe's protege.
Oh, yeah, we remember that, right? Trump's, he kept talking about my good friend Shinzo Abe during Ishiba's visit, isn't it?
That's correct. The first name that Mr. Trump always says when he talks about Japan is Shinzo Abe. And he couldn't even remember Mr. Ishiba's name. So he called Mr. Ishiba Mr. Japan. So that was Mr. Ishiba's name, Mr. Japan. Mr. Trump and Mr. Abe, going back to Mr. Abe, got along so well. They played golf together many times. And Mr. Trump is believed to have consulted Mr. Abe for his idea when he needed to make decisions, especially on foreign affairs. So Ms. Takaichi, in order to prepare better, she actually retained Mr. Ryosei Akazawa, who was chief U.S. tariff negotiator for Mr. Shigeru Ishiba. So he is now the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry. And she appointed Toshimitsu Motegi as foreign minister. Mr. Motegi was foreign minister before, but during the Trump 1.0 administration, he was the chief trade negotiator. And Trump called him a tough negotiator. So these two men are expected to be very good supporter of Ms. Takaichi when she meets with Mr. Trump.
She has a sense of continuity from Mr. Shinzo Abe and in the time of Trump 1.0. So that would help her, I think, in the coming weeks as she meets Mr. Trump. Isn't that right?
They are hope to help her. And they are familiar with Mr. Trump. And Mr. Trump also knows these two men.
Let's talk about some risks to her leadership. As we know, in the past 5 years, Japan has had pretty much 5 prime ministers, like a revolving door leadership. What will be the risk to her leadership that may limit her ability to govern?
One would be her new coalition with Ishin, or Japan Innovation Party, because it's so new, this relationship. We don't know which direction it's going to take. Will she be able to reduce the number of parliamentarians as they requested? It's a change of its former coalition with Komeito, with which LDP had 26 years of tie. If she does agree, or if she does start working on reducing the number of seats in parliament, there could be a revolt within the LDP, and she needs the support within the party to remain a prime minister and president of the LDP. But then on the other hand, the key issue will be if she will be able to gain support from the public. If her public approval rating rises, then what she can do, first of all, is to call for a snap election. Although she has denied in her first news conference that she will call for a snap election, because the LDP does not have a majority in both houses of parliament. And regaining seats in both houses will make her policy easier to actually implement.
So she has quite a lot on her plate. She's got to balance this untested coalition with Ishin. She's got to make sure she does not alienate her LDP supporters, even though their seats might be threatened if she does have to reduce parliamentary seats. And if there's an internal revolt, she might just be another name in the revolving door of Japanese politics, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Is power consolidation her biggest task? And with that, do you think she can break the pattern of Japan's revolving door leadership?
From the start, political watchers have been saying that she formed her cabinet without consulting political heavyweights. And this is actually unusual for an LDP prime minister, because they usually want to balance the cabinet so they can receive cooperation from members within the party. But then she also needs cooperation from parties outside her party and also from parties outside her coalition, because the LDP is a minority government. Well, for now, opposition parties have been welcoming because she is the first female Japanese leader. And it looks good in the world map that Japan now has a woman as its leader. But as days, months pass, who knows what will happen. They might be against her policy, they might not cooperate. So she really needs to give in to some of their policies in order to pass bills and in order to form Japan's national budget, which is the most important thing for her. And she is expected to give her policy speech on Friday. Then she will travel probably to Malaysia for the ASEAN summit, meet with Mr. Trump in Tokyo, and travel to South Korea for APEC. She has many challenges ahead, and maybe first will be foreign affairs when she meets perhaps with also a Chinese president or whoever attends one of those meetings.
she has a full plate and she hits the ground running. Thank you for that, Michiyo. Sanae Takaichi breaks barriers as Japan's first female prime minister, but steps into crisis. Weak growth, high prices, and growing pressure from both Japan's closest ally, the U.S., and her biggest rival, China. The question is, can she steady Japan and outlast the political curse that has cut down every prime minister since Shinzo Abe? I'm Genevieve Woo. Thanks for joining me on this special episode of the CNA Correspondent Podcast. It's brought to you by Clara Ong, Tiffany Ang, Nat Vetavero, Janani Johari, Pei Ning Ho, Craig Dale, and me, Genevieve Woo. Bye for now.